I got a meeting in the girls' room. Do you wanna come with, boo? I got a meeting in the girls' room. Do you wanna come with, boo? Ooh, do you wanna come with?
Welcome back, listener. Welcome to the second episode of Do You Want to Come With, Season 1, an exploration of the social experiences of the girls' bathroom and its interactions with queer and genderqueer experiences. I'm David McKeever, your gracious host. First off, I want to thank everybody for all the love and support that has been shown to me since the first episode premiered. It has meant the world for me. I would also like to thank everyone for bearing with me. You know, this is a completely amateur production. I'm in my room recording with amateur tools. I've never had to be a podcaster before. And so things like audio might be wonky, or I might mess up a word here or there. I'd also like to apologize. My voice is a little bit different today. I'm feeling a little, I don't know, throat itch, whatever. I think it was dry for the first time the other night. So it's a little itchy, a little sad, a little cold. Anyways. The color of the week this week is blue. My message for you today is I am breaking with old patterns and moving forward with my life. I saw this in a book, I think it was All About Love by Bell Hooks, and she said it, first off, love Bell Hooks so much, but she said it, and I think she said that she put it on her wall, she said it every day or something, kind of became like a little mantra or a little something that she would say, and it would help. And I will say, you know, I did the same thing. I saw that, I was like, that's a really good thing to say. I wrote it down, put it on my wall, and every once in a while I read it, or I read it out loud. And I will say, since I put it on my wall, I have broken with old patterns, and I am moving forward with my life. So, kind of crazy how that kind of stuff works. Today, we have a meeting in the girls' room. Do you want to come with, boo? Anyways, this episode will focus on reporting the findings of my conversations with those who use the women's bathroom. I draw from my conversations with my roomie and bestie Emma, my soul sister Lila, my childhood and present day best friend Z, my non-binary legend and icon Zoe, and a straight girl named Connie. Now, here's my gossip for you all today. Connie and I, at the time of this, were friends. You know, her name's not Connie. I'm using a different name because although she said at one point she was okay with being mentioned we haven't talked in a long time because we stopped being friends. We had a little falling out. So my gossip today is that I'm not really friends with her anymore, and it's been really interesting navigating this project because, you know, all the best, all love to her, but also just like we weren't good friends. We weren't compatible friends. Shit happened, and I don't like it. It was bad. It was funny, though. I saw her recently at a party, at a friend's birthday party, and I walked in. She was literally the first person I saw, like, standing in the doorway, and I was like, oh, of course, that's funny. And I was like, hey, oh my God, so good to see you. You know, I was very, very gracious. I don't think that's gracious. I think that was actually fake. I also wasn't like that too. I was like, hey, it's good to see you. Like, and even if it wasn't great to see her, it was good to see her because I haven't seen her. And anyways, yeah, that's my gossip for you today. I'm not really friends with her anymore, and she was a part of this podcast. So it's been very interesting going back and like reflecting, especially on like how the friendship fell out, but then like how the disconnect can show in a project like this, in something that I was doing. So I'd like to introduce you all to a segment I'm calling Rumor Has It. In this episode, Rumor Has It will explore the different perceptions and fantasies of the girls' bathroom that I had before I recorded this podcast and before I came to reality. This Rumor Has It will take a little bit of a different form for this episode, you know. In the future, it will be kind of at the end of the episode, right before I start to wrap up. But if you have a rumor you'd like me to spread or dissect, please send them to the podcast email, doyouwannacomewith@gmail.com. That's doyouwannacomewith@gmail.com. These rumors can be about anything that I tell you they can be about, including gender, sexuality, masculinity, femininity, queerness, transness, public spaces, urban legends, policies and politics, social media rumblings, God, and more. Secrets are no fun, so I'm sharing them with everyone. Now, let's get dirty. Rumor has it. Okay, so rumor number 1. I heard the rumor that there are no boys allowed in the girls' bathroom. Only girls are welcome there because girls get each other and they feel safe together. This is one of the rationales I came up with for why girls are okay with being in the bathroom with just girls. I used to think that this meant my women friends simply don't trust me as much as they do other women. I used to think that gender boundaries were just that, and there was no way I could actually get through and be close to the people who I care about deeply. I've since learned this is not true, and have come to question why I was led to believe this about myself and about the bathroom space. So my questions are, who really gets to walk into the bathroom freely? Who gets to feel comfortable in the girls' bathroom? From my own experience, I've never been allowed in that space, being perceived as a boy and all, but my girlhood would assume that I should be allowed in there. This begs the question, what really makes a girl? What kinds of allegiances to gender categories really create? All of the girls I talk to describe feeling a sense of welcomeness in the bathroom, but it's not some unconditional acceptance. Non-binary people who have to use the girls' bathroom would probably agree that the bathroom is not a space they feel fully welcome in, and they are only allowed in that space because of their perceived cisness. Alternatively, if they don't present like they are cis, they also experience some sense of disconnection with that space, like you're not in the bathroom that you feel like you want to be in, or this gender is being assigned onto you just by walking in the door. Trans women are also unwelcome in some bathrooms, either by law or by those who might police them. So like womanhood, or people who feel aligned with womanhood, or people who feel forced into womanhood, don't actually always feel welcome in the bathroom. It's not unconditional. So when it's said that there's no boys allowed, what does this mean? Especially when biological sex is so often enforced as the basis for gender in the bathroom. What does it mean when we create these divisions based on gender? Are we really creating a caring community? Overall, the space feels safe to some women. Emma said that she feels like it's a safe haven of sorts for her, especially when she's out drinking. She feels more relaxed in the space. Social interactions are also easier to have when one feels welcome in the bathroom, so of course some women feel like they're safer in there, especially when they aren't being actively pursued by men. And, as for comfort in the bathroom, it's a bathroom, not a bedroom. It's dirty in there, and no one really feels comfortable in the bathroom, but can be the sense of welcomeness. So all that to say is that, yeah, not having men in that space, especially men who are cis straight men who are, predatory, that is good for women not to have because they kind of have this space to go. But does that mean that keeping out cis straight men or cis men in general or men in general actually does create a caring community? No, I don't think so. So no boys allowed does not actually translate to safety and community in the bathroom. Moving on to our next rumor. A little birdie told me that girls meet in the bathrooms in many different places. Girls go wherever the bathrooms are, they go together. But mostly, the sociability of the bathroom, this kind of social interactions that happen, where you're talking with a friend or talking with a stranger, has a link to the type of space it's in. By saying this, I mean that drinking environments, such as bars or clubs, are the most commonly thought of space where social interactions happen. These spaces are more uninhibited, as Emma and Lila describe, while restaurants are more of a place for business, as Lila put it. Schools, both university and high school and elementary, middle school, are all places to catch up with friends, acquaintances, and colleagues, as Connie mentioned. Zoe mentioned department stores as a place where social interactions happen too, saying that someone always wants to spill their tea in the Target bathroom. Mostly, however, I noticed that the club and bar environment was the most commonly talked about space, with the most eclectic experiences happening in these environments. Personally, I've noticed this in my own experience, where my friends will go to the bathroom together a lot more at bars and clubs, especially clubs full of straight people. At queer clubs, however, this tendency to go to the bathroom seems to be decreased. As Emma noted, she has less of a desire to go to the bathroom when she's at a gay club, and feels less of an urge to get away from the crowd of men. I can tell you some truth here. It is much safer for girls at queer bars and clubs. Mostly, these spaces are dominated by queer men, due to a profound lack of spaces for lesbian nightlife. But also, there's a lot of queer women there, and there's a lot of queer people there, period. In a lot of these spaces, women of all sexualities can go to feel a little bit safer. But, of course, bad stuff still happens at queer bars and clubs. One of my friends got her drink spiked at a gay bar or lesbian bar before, so it's not some safe haven either. I found that wherever alcohol is, trouble will usually follow. Moving on to our next rumor. So I've heard some rumors about the girls' bathroom being a kind of social hub for girls to just chill out, fix themselves up, have fun, and go wild. Here's the hot goss. It kind of is. Checking appearances, including fixing hair, makeup, and clothes, all go on amongst the girls in the bathroom. And girls will gab and goss and girl out together. Lila mentions people asking for period care products, or, some people want to ask to hit somebody else's vape. Conversations happen in the bathroom, usually between friends and strangers. Overall, the bathroom seems to serve as a check-in point, allowing women to check in with themselves and their bodies and each other, and converse with each other freely or more openly than they might in the space that they're in. If you're at a dinner or something and you're with your friend, but you're with a group, and then you go to the bathroom with your friend, you might have a chance to talk about what's going on in the dinner that you couldn't talk about at that dinner table, So let me kind of get into the different parts of this rumor. So first off, you have conversations going on in the bathroom. It's like, let's dish, girl, Conversations happen amongst those who both know each other and amongst strangers, especially when alcohol or substances are involved. It's just incredibly common in the bathroom to just talk with the people who are in there. These conversations happen in restaurants, schools, bars, clubs, department stores, and more, with some places having more levels of interaction than others. I just talked about this a second ago. Usually, the social use of the girls' bathroom reflects whatever space it's in. Friends will talk about their lives, and sometimes it lets people get to know each other better. Emma recalls learning things about her friends that she's never learned before, and that all happened in the bathroom. Lila, Connie, and Emma all describe that it's easier to engage in small talk with strangers in the bathroom, especially when you're in a group, or they're in a group. If a group of girls is talking and you enter the bathroom as a woman, it wouldn't be super weird or unusual to chime in on the conversation going on. It usually starts as complimenting one's outfit, and the conversation flows from there. Additionally, conversations happen between acquaintances in the bathroom, as Connie noted, especially in a school environment. The bathroom allows people to check in with each other, like after a class or a test, or you get to see somebody that you had class with a few years ago and you haven't seen since. Other conversations that take place between strangers are about sex or romance, but usually it's heterosexual sex. As Emma and Lila describe, this is incredibly common, where girls will chime in on other girls' conversations about whatever guy that girl's involved with. Lila recalls saying things like, "Don't do it," from inside of a stall, and her message was received rather positively. Sometimes they'll come out and talk further, but not always. Sometimes it's kind of limited to that moment of, don't do it. In general, too, women seem to have a chance to decompress from the men in their life in the bathroom, both those who they're romantically or sexually involved with, or, in the bar and club environment, random men who might be trying to pursue them. The social connection gives them a second of reprieve and lets them talk to other people who may be experiencing similar things. Overall, conversations are common in the bathroom. They're usually meant to relieve something that has been bothering someone, and the space of the bathroom gives the privacy and usually the community to do so. Conversations between friends are more deeply personal than conversations between strangers, and sometimes revelations can happen. I also think a lot about media depictions of conversations and gossip in the bathroom. The first thing that comes to mind is, and by no means do I endorse this show or even like it, but I have watched it, Euphoria. In the most recent season of Euphoria, you have all these teens struggling with whatever they're struggling with some of the most traumatic shit that most people can go through in their life, actually, I'll say that. But there's multiple scenes that I feel like take place in this girl's bathroom. One of them, it's one of the characters, Cassie, is she's dressed up in this Dolly Parton ass outfit. The girls are all asking her what's going on, blah blah blah, and she's like, fuck it, I am in love with Nate Jacobs and he's in love with me, talking about one of her best friend's ex-boyfriends who she's been hooking up with, and everyone's like, oh my god, but then it ends up not even being real, And I think it's really interesting that it didn't end up being real. I mean, Euphoria is not this social commentary, there's depth in it, but honestly, when you look into the depth, it's not that deep. But for the purposes of this, I'll look at this bathroom scene and be like, what made it feel comfortable in her imagination to say that to this group of girls? And then what was it about the bathroom space that actually made her not say it? Because she didn't reveal this information, even though you see as the viewer that she did. So it's she actually doesn't feel safe with this community of girls in the bathroom who are her friends, or at least have known her for a long time. What does that say about the social dynamics of these girls? What does that say about the social dynamics of the bathroom, Another TV show I think about is Pretty Little Liars. holy shit, I love that show, on the other hand. Because I think that show is ridiculous, and they take it to extremes that, like, Euphoria is just, like, traumatic and, like, kind of like trauma porn, you know? Like, just really intense just to, like, be sensational and everything. Where Pretty Little Liars is just, like, this crazy mystery story with 14 girls at the center of it. And I was actually... I rewatched this episode, or like the clips of it, last night, and there's this one episode where Jenna, who the four Pretty Little Liars had like accidentally blinded in an incident like a few years before, and then like Jenna had eye surgery recently in the show, and like she was like, I'm still blind, I can't see anything, but they're like, no, like she can see. So they're in the bathroom, and someone found an earring in their dad's couch, and they're like all talking, and they're like, no, let's just leave the bathroom. Like, they're trying to figure out what's going on with the earring. It's at the end of the episode. They go out, they see Jenna like is talking to a teacher, and she's like, oh, I just have to go rinse my water bottle. And they all like walk out of the bathroom, and then they're like, no, go back in. They go back in. 2 girls go in one stall, 2 girls go in the other stall. They're all watching like the sink. They put the earring on the sink like ledge underneath the mirror, and they go into the stalls. Jenna walks in, the blind girl, the girl that they blinded, and they're like, okay, it's a trap. If she can see, she'll pick up the earring. And she goes, she rinses out her water bottle, she picks up the earring, and it's like, you get shots of all the girls like, you know, they don't gasp because they're trying to be quiet, but like, it's so good. It's so funny. And what's even funnier about that is that my friend wanted to rewatch this scene. Actually, Emma wanted to rewatch this scene. And we watched the episode, and I was watching the beginning of the episode thinking that it was it, because, you know, it starts with like all the girls running to a bathroom because one of the Pretty Little Liars gets a necklace full of teeth that says dead girls can't smile. So messed up. And they all run to the bathroom, and then in that instance, they're like all gathered around like in the bathroom. They all go into one stall. First off, big stall to fit 4 teenage girls. And they're all looking at it, and then like they're like fighting over it or whatever, and then they drop it into the toilet, and they're like, careful. We have to be careful. The sensors will go off, and then it will flush before we can grab it. And then like they're like about to grab it, and the bell rings, and they all like go away, and the toilet flushes. And it's so funny that that episode starts and ends in the bathroom, and it's like, what's this drama private place in the school that they can go? Like, it's perfect. Honestly, like, if I could credit a piece of media to where I like have the girls' bathroom imagination, Pretty Little Liars would be like one of the biggest ones, you know? Moving on, the movie Mean Girls, this happens too, you know? Like, I think there's one scene where they're all in the bathroom, and they have their also like gay male friend in there too, and like somebody even says something to the gay male friend where it's like, what? Like, what? Like, what are you going to do about it? Like, I'm in the bathroom with my friends, and it's just kind of like a thing that he's okay to be in that bathroom, you know? And then finally, this is a movie I watched recently for the first time, 9 to 5 with Dolly Parton and Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda. Now, you see a little bit like of an older age group than like who I was talking to for this project, but they're in an office setting, you know, and like the bathroom kind of becomes this place where they can go and like have a space away from their like really misogynistic, like sexist, patriarchal boss, you know? There is this one coworker that they have, though, who is like a fucking narc. So she'll go into the bathroom and like listen to the girls' conversations and then report back to the boss. And so it's like, oh, be careful before you go into the bathroom because you might see this, you know, narc coworker's feet. And if you see her feet, don't talk freely. But what I find crazy about that is that the coworker, this fucking old crone coworker, learns to like just like pull her feet up, and then she'll be sitting there writing down everything people are saying about the boss on a piece of toilet paper, which I find is crazy because it's like, girl, you could have brought a notepad in there. Nobody can hear the notepad or see the notepad. Like, you're writing on the toilet paper. Like, you know, you were going in there to spy on people and to control people and surveil people, you know? It's like, anyways, like these media depictions and so much more kind of like reveal a lot of like where my conception of the girls' bathroom come from, you know? Like, of a lot of people's conception where it's like, it is this space where big stuff is happening. Or maybe it's not happening in there either. Or maybe there's something else going on in there too. Like somebody's watching and you can't actually be fully like safe in that space. Moving on to something a little bit more scandalous than just conversations. You got sex and drugs going on in the bathroom. Girls go to the bathroom to do drugs together? Yeah, apparently so. Drugs are a big part of the social experience in the girls' bathroom, especially for young people. I think literally every single person I talk to, girl or not, discussed vaping in the bathroom with other people, especially in high school environments, but also in other environments in general. I know from personal experience that this is a function in many different public bathrooms where vaping is not allowed in the public space you're in, so people go to the bathroom to vape together. Other kinds of drugs happen in the bathroom, like people go in there to smoke it or to snort it, or in some cases inject it. I've never known anyone to inject something in the bathroom, but that does happen in there. We have to be aware of that. And it's like, it has some sort of privacy in this space. I think because it happens like usually in the stalls and not in front of the sinks, Although like if you're smoking something in the bathroom, I can't imagine that that's a really private activity because like you can smell smoke. It actually makes me think of one time I was in a Wendy's when I was 16 years old with one of my like Australian friends. We were in New York City and we went into the men's bathroom together. And I just remember it was either the guy was in the stall or like we were in the bathroom and this guy's like rolling a blunt and it's like, it asks us if we want to smoke it. And, looking back, I probably could have said yes. But like, I was like, at the time I was like, no, you know what? Like you're a stranger and I don't know you. Like, also that was probably the right call too. But like, it was really funny because I'm like, it was actually not even like a private thing that he was doing in the men's bathroom. He was just like openly smoking and even asked us if we wanted some. We were just like, no, we're all good. Thanks though. And then left the bathroom. So I think that's really funny. And then you have sex. Sex. Oh my God. Sex does happen in the bathroom, but more so queer sex is what I found. Zoe and Emma kind of pointed to that for me. This is kind of something that is like also kind of a media image that I've seen a lot. Like people be fucking in the bathroom and TV and movies and stuff. And people are also kissing in the bathroom. One show that I think of where like there's a queer kiss that happens is Never Have I Ever on Netflix. It's a high school age show. There's two of these girls who are friends have their first kiss in the bathroom. And it's kind of like this moment of like, oh my God, like one of them is like, oh my God, I think I might be gay or something, So this does happen in the bathroom in real life as well. Maybe it's as like revelatory as that, or maybe it's just like sex, and maybe sex happens in the bathroom because the bathroom's a private place for a lot of people. Moving on to some cold hard tea. The bathroom is a site of power, surveillance, and social control. One form of surveillance that occurs in the bathroom is through the policing of other people's bodies. In my conversation with Emma, she recalled an experience from before college where eating disorders were encouraged in the bathroom. At the time, after eating lunch, the people she was friends with would all get up and go to the bathroom to purge together. It became a kind of ritualized practice that became a system of discipline. The girls in the bathroom have to monitor each other and their bodies to make sure that they are following the ritual that makes them more beautiful. The ritual of purging, that is. Thankfully, Emma avoided participating in this herself, but this is not an uncommon experience in the bathroom where eating disorders are encouraged or where they flourish, especially amongst other girls. Additionally, Emma described the presence of negative self-talk about one's body occurring in the girls' bathroom. This kind of negative self-talk ultimately reinforces body standards. In an article called Teaching the Politics of Obesity, scholar Julie Guthman says that, quote, obesity is a disciplining discourse, end quote. We're even talking about the quote-unquote problem of obesity reinforces the idea that being fat is inherently bad or that it's the result of some moral or personal failure. As a fat person, I can tell you this right now, it's not. Bodies are just bodies. Nobody has made their body anything that deserves to be judged or ridiculed or that they're inherently bad because they are one way or the other. I really don't like that kind of shit. So, drawing from this idea, I think about body discourses more generally. Talking about one's body and the negative things one feels about it is a part of body discourse. And this kind of discourse, this kind of talking about bodies in a negative way, reinforces body standards themselves. In this way, the bathroom becomes a place where, through the reinforcement of body standards, women are surveilled and monitored by other women. So surveillance happens in the bathroom. In spaces where women are always watched by men, such as the club, but also in other spaces, the bathroom becomes a reprieve from men's surveillance. It shields women from men, and since gender is a visible identity, with masculinity signifying man and femininity signifying woman, at least in the logic of a gender binary, It's easy for women to police those who might be entering the bathroom to surveil them, because they can see masculinity and binary gender teaches them that's a man. But ultimately, this just reinforces a binary gender system and the institutions of power that enforce binary gender. In my conversation with Lila, we discussed state notions of power being ingrained into people's perceptions of the world. Women can internalize this constant surveillance by men and use it to surveil and police others. As Lila said, some women want to be able to step into the man's role of excluding. In a normative space like the bathroom, this kind of wanting to step into the role is heightened. In all of my conversations with women, I posed some version of the following question. I said, what would you do if someone you perceived as a man walked into the bathroom? In most of my conversations, cis women said that they probably wouldn't care, as long as that person was being respectful of others in that space. They could definitely see others, especially strangers, or sometimes their friends, having something to say about it. Confrontations, though, don't seem to happen in the bathroom too often, as no one described witnessing any, and no one described feeling the compulsion to confront somebody. In my conversation with Zoe, though, we talked about how hard it is people to know if they were to intervene and defend this person who they perceive as a man unless they were in that moment. Being genderqueer people, both Zoe and I know that cis people have implicit reactions to others based on how they perceive their gender. So it's hard to say how one would react unless they're confronted with this supposed transgression of the bathroom space. How one understands their own gender and how they relate to and care for non-cis people will ultimately determine whether or not they surveil and police and control others in the bathroom space. The bathroom is and always has been a site of social control, and these legacies and realities are felt every day by everyone, but most profoundly those who are targets of this social control, including racialized people, queer people, trans people, disabled people, and more. This rumor of the social hub of the girls' bathroom is not just a rumor or a fantasy, but in some aspects, it's actually true. However, what I found is that it's not necessarily this grand, exciting place that I've imagined it to be. These interactions are usually rather mundane occurrences, and they don't seem to have a sustained impact on the lives of those who use the bathroom. Additionally, the bathroom itself is shrouded in these gendered conventions of normalcy, purity, and more. So, there is some sinister stuff happening in the bathroom, just as much as there is fun stuff happening in there as well. Anyways, those are the big rumors that I wanted to go through, and that concludes this episode's Rumor Has It. Let's take a bathroom break. Welcome back from the bathroom. I hope you got to refresh yourself, check in. Maybe you had a conversation when you were in there. Maybe you didn't, all of those things that go on in there. So through my conversations, I saw three main reasons as to why women go to the bathroom together. Those being safety, utility, and fun. So let's start with safety. Safety is an important part of the girls' bathroom. Z describes this scenario where she feels safe if one other person is in the bathroom with her, a stranger, She said that there's a sense that they're both vulnerable when it's just the two of them, but when somebody else enters the room, that feeling changes. I think it's interesting she brought this up because it's not something I'd considered or heard too much from other girls, but it makes sense. There is a shared vulnerability in being alone in the public bathroom with somebody else, but when someone else enters that space, that intimacy might be lost. It's no longer you and them, it's the group, or it's you and them and them. What's really behind this? I find it even more of an interesting thing that she described because I had this conversation with my mother recently where it was the opposite for her. She describes that if there's two people in the bathroom, she feels unsafe because what could this stranger do to her? And then if somebody else comes in, it's like, okay, now there's three people in here. There's kind of more of like a guarantee that something bad won't happen to me because maybe this other person will intervene. And I understand where she's coming from too. So then, what could account for the differences between Z's perspective and my mom's perspective? Is it generational? Is it experiential? What kind of stuff has my mother gone through that Z hasn't? What kind of stuff has Z gone through that my mother hasn't? How do they operate in the world differently? All of these questions came up, and I don't necessarily have an answer, and it would take a lot more thinking and talking with these people and having them talk and think about these things directly to me for me to understand that. Additionally, Connie also described feeling potentially unsafe in the bathroom, but it would probably be when she enters the bathroom alone and within certain contexts. She talked about this instance where she was alone in the bathroom when a woman approached her and consoled her, as Connie was feeling a little bit sad that day. This woman then brings Connie out to a table full of men, asking her if she can buy her a drink. She was okay, and she left after that. She didn't get the drink, But this was something that happened in the bathroom that made her feel unsafe. And perhaps if Connie wasn't alone, then she would have avoided this uncomfortable situation because she could have had a friend there who was consoling her instead of this stranger. And perhaps if she trusted the supposed community of the bathroom more, she would have trusted that stranger and then opened herself up to some danger. So perhaps, to guarantee safety, one might ask a friend to come with them because there is strength and safety in numbers. Moving on to utility. So in the book Toilet, Public Restrooms and the Politics of Sharing, they have these little rest stops in between chapters. One of them is called A Women's Restroom Reflection, Be Prepared for the Women's Room, in which an anonymous author tells a story about her experience in the bathroom. She describes having to wait in line, act politely, enter a stall with a broken door, hover over the seat, use a dirty Kleenex to wipe, hang her purse on the broken door, and stumble her way out of this dirty, underserviced place. At the end of her story, she says, quote, "This is dedicated to women everywhere who deal with public restrooms. Rest? You gotta be kidding." It finally explains to the men what really takes us so long. It also answers their other commonly asked questions about why women go to the bathroom in pairs. It's so the other gal can hold the door, hang onto your purse, and hand you a Kleenex under the door. End quote. This story posits the bathroom experience not only as gross, but as something that necessitates community to avoid excessive dirtiness. Another aspect of utility I find really interesting came up in both my conversation with Z and with Connie. They both described the same instance of going to the bathroom together, as they were together at the time. Z was visiting me in DC, and Connie, Z, and I went out to a club. They met this group of girls in line, and they used the bathroom with them because one of the stalls was broken. Here, community was utility, as it seemed faster for all of them to go together than to go one at a time. I remember this instance well, because I was waiting for them outside. I went to the bathroom by myself, I used the men's room, and I was out within 3 minutes. I stood for 15 to 20 minutes, watching men go in and out of the bathroom while the line got longer for girls. It was so crazy to watch that happen, especially at the time, because I was early on in my research process, and I was seeing this dynamic play out before my eyes. I think I might have even ordered a drink while I was waiting. I was waiting for so long. For those girls, it was like they were going to war, They were never fucking coming back. I could have only imagined what was going on, until I talked to Connie and Z about it. Connie described having fun with those girls and feeling a sense of community and enjoying that, but Z described the same interaction as actually hindering the utility of the bathroom. If every group of girls like this one are using the bathroom like they are, chatting and taking selfies, in the one working stall under service restroom, the actual utility of the bathroom is hindered. It becomes a part of the problem, which is waiting in line for a really long time and, you can't relieve yourself right away, instead of actually helping take care of people's needs in the bathroom space. Another utility function of the bathroom is to go to check on your appearance. People go to the bathroom together to fix their hair or fix their makeup and check in with one another. This is utility that is allowed not only because of the privacy of the space, but because mirrors are usually in the bathroom and not anywhere else. There's also this gendered expectation that women are fixing their appearance in the bathroom, so that gendered expectation reinforces people going to the bathroom to do it. Utility, in the context of the bathroom, deals with the actual function of the space. People usually go to the bathroom together because the bathroom is underserviced. At the same time, that community that forms in the bathroom can actually hinder the utility of the bathroom, which is to relieve yourself. So then what do? How does community and utility clash with one another? And how do they help one another? On the other hand, I think about utility in the bathroom in another context. I go to the bathroom with my friends, but it's usually single-person bathrooms. We can all go in together, and there's usually not somebody who's like, hey, don't go in there. Although, now that I think about it, this is something that we can only do in queer spaces. Recently, I tried to go into a single-person bathroom with Emma at a club in DC, and security didn't let me go in with her. Then, later, when Emma and our friends Allie and Izzy tried to go to the bathroom together, only 2 of them were allowed to enter the single-person bathroom. For those three, I assume that security thinks this group of three girls are going to do drugs together in the bathroom, which, fair, people do go to the bathroom to do drugs. But this was not the same for Emma and I, who were separated because of assumptions. This is not something that would have been an issue if cisness and heterosexuality was not automatically projected onto me in cishet spaces, and if people were seen for more than just their assumed bodies. It's so frustrating, and I understand their logic and how they approach it, and that makes it even more maddening. You know, what do they think Emma and I is going to do in there? Like, have sex? I can tell you right now, we are not. But yet, there's no chance for me to tell them that. There's no chance for me, like they won't see me for who I actually am. So even though these bathrooms are not gendered openly, again, they were single-person, ungendered bathrooms, the gendering of the bathroom was still present in that moment. And hindered the utility of going to the bathroom for me. It is actually easier for people to go to the bathroom together when they're all in the same group, because you can just go 1, 2, 3. You know, it doesn't have to be wait to someone to open the door, wash their hands and stuff. Moving on to fun. One of the purposes of the bathroom seems to be that it allows fun things to happen. In that, it usually helps facilitate illicit activities that are fun to people. It's much more difficult and dangerous to do drugs in a public space, so the supposed privacy of the bathroom allows for the sanctuary from that public space. Then you have sex, which is happening in the bathroom, which is a fun activity for a lot of people. Although, y'all, seriously, I do want better for everyone. It is pretty gross in the bathroom. Or, I guess, do what you want. I don't really care. Sex is dirty anyways. And I guess I tell everyone to embrace dirt, but, maybe don't embrace it that much, you know? Wait till you get home. And I don't know about y'all, but to me, the rumors that the girls' bathroom is some fun, safe party space seem to be true on one hand, but the reality is that a lot more is going on in the bathroom than just a good time, you know? There are workings of power in that space that work to reinforce social divisions. The bathroom does not necessarily smell like roses. It's not necessarily a space where girls are always looking out for each other, or taking care of each other, or taking care of people who they don't even know. And it can be just as exclusive as it is inclusive. So now I'm going to start to wrap up. I know. Listen, I know. We all want to stay here forever. We all want to listen to me talk about the bathroom for hours and hours and hours. But at some point, things have to come to an end. So here are my final thoughts. A sense of community is formed in the girls' bathroom. People do not have as much barriers when it comes to disclosing details of their personal life or opening themselves up to other people. This community comes with a set of rules, though, about how to act. And it's mostly not being weird. You know, don't act weird. There seems to be a sense of intimacy in the bathroom, too, especially with friends and with drinks flowing. But, as Z notes, these interactions are a dime a dozen and aren't necessarily limited to the bathroom. And maybe this community isn't either. So what is it there, then? Why do some people feel like they might cut through the small talk, as Lila and I discussed? Toward the beginning of this episode, I asked the question, when we create these divisions based on gender, are we really guaranteeing a caring community? I have a feeling that there's something going on with how people understand gender, but also how people connect with others on the basis of identity. Although gender is on the door of the women's bathroom, that does not mean that everyone who enters that bathroom space experiences womanhood in the same way, and we have to remember that. How one understands their gender is informed by their other aspects of their identity, like their race, class, sexuality, ability, but also other aspects of their life, you know? What I'm starting to touch on here is this idea of identification, or this idea of counter-identification. An identification would be, I am a woman, I was born a woman, and I will remain a woman. An example of counter-identification would be, I am a gay person. I was not told I was gay when I was growing up, and this is something that I'm identifying with in opposition to the culture that I exist in. But then, those two kinds of identification don't really make up everything. What about those who are one gender, but they have a really close relationship with someone of another gender, or of another race or sexuality, and they still have this community that they might not have with another person of their same gender? What about, instead of identifying, we disidentify? We live in a world that wants to flatten identity into one experience, ignoring the realities of those who do not embody what we imagine identity to be. So what if we stopped identifying? And what if we started disidentifying? Community is not inherent in the bathroom. I think about my conversation with Connie, where a woman made her feel unsafe in the bathroom. So, overall, while gender does provide a community for some girls in the bathroom, it is important to interrogate who exactly feels sisterhood and where that sense of community actually exists, especially with strangers of the same gender or of the perceived same gender. This sense of community is a lot more superficial than some make it seem. Queer, trans, and genderqueer experiences also interact with the girls' bathroom in specific ways because of their position outside of binary gender experiences. Cis queer women do not note feeling dysphoria in the bathroom and find it easy to mute their queerness when they're in there, allowing them to participate in conversations that happen among strangers in the bathroom. However, for trans and genderqueer people, muting aspects of one identity directly ties into the gender depression we experience, as Zoe and I talked about. So cisness, queerness, and non-cisness interact in the bathroom in incredibly different and interesting ways. Women in the bathroom deserve the safety it might provide for them from men. They deserve this place to check in, to know each other more deeply. However, what is left out in creating this space for women? How does this flatten experiences of womanhood, universalizing what it might mean to be a woman? Who is left out, and who has to negotiate their identity to get in? And ultimately, why can't we guarantee this kind of safety and fun and utility for women outside of the bathroom too? Folks, my book of the week this week is Discipline and Punish by Michel Foucault. Michel Foucault is a French sociologist and philosopher, died in the 80s. Did a lot of work discussing sexuality and power and, theories of how power and control and surveillance function in our society. And let me say this. The book of the week this week, Discipline and Punish, is not great. And I don't actually really like Michel Foucault. In fact, I would even go as far to say, I fucking hate Michel Foucault. First off, let me start with his work. I think there's some really incredibly important stuff that he talks about in Discipline and Punish. That is the text of his that I've spent the most time with. It kind of helped me understand how power and discipline and punishment function in our modern day society and where that comes from, and kind of how, policing functions as a way of disciplining, all these things. But here's the thing. What he talks about, other scholars have talked about 1,000 times over in a lot more accessible or understandable or nuanced ways. A lot was missing from his work. And I've really just this book was pushed on me, and his work was pushed on me so many times throughout my experience in the past 4 years. And I'm sure a lot of people who have studied, philosophy or sociology or critical studies have also encountered his work a lot. And every time, almost every single person I've talked to has come to this conclusion of he's not the best. So why do we keep looking towards him? Also, he had some pretty iffy personal views. And by iffy, I mean really fucking crazy. He was a part of this coalition to lower the age of consent. So also probably a pedophile too. And there's these rumors about him, which, maybe are true, maybe are not, that he was actually doing pedophile things. And it's just after I learned all that, it's just made me even more just why are we using his work? There's so many other scholars who can do what he did. One of them that I can think of off the top of my head is Angela Davis, Our Prison's Obsolete. It's a great antidote to Discipline and Punish. So my book of the week this week is also Our Prison's Obsolete by Angela Davis. Anyways, here we go, y'all. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or rumors you'd like me to share, please email them to doyouwannacomewith@gmail.com. As a reminder, don't come in my inbox asking me stuff you could learn on the internet or from a book or from life, Think deep and critically with your questions and rumors. Also, I'm not looking for critiques on my work either. I will say that I'm open to critique, but we have to have a personal relationship for you to be talking to me like that, So, and hit me up another way too. Don't come in my email inbox and be I think you should work on this. Talk to me about it. I'm open to it. Not just from anybody though. Anyways, follow me at david.mckeever on Instagram and follow the Do You Wanna Instagram as well, at Do You Wanna Pod. Until we do a little something fun in the bathroom together again, I'm David McKeever, and this is Do You Wanna Come With? Thank you for listening. Bye.